ask you this. You mentioned biological. So when you're taking cocaine, the neuronal patterns are being, how would you say, laid down.
Fired. Or laid down to,
right? You're creating this
carved
neuronal habit of going to cocaine when a stressful situation comes, a time of loneliness, whatever it is that induces you to that substance. So once you've conquered cocaine, is it possible to lay new tracks of neuronal patterns?
Yes, it is. And that
answers that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Show's over.
Yeah, the scientific evidence really shows us throughout, especially nowadays with what we believe, the functional MRIs can teach us about the brain activities. When we lay down new neuronal pathways in the brain, as a result of that, what happens is brain activity changes. So regions of the brain that have remained dormant and didn't really get activated as part of a, let's say, decision-making process, they now become activated. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is a simple analogy. If you can think of, you have always driven to work, taking very set, predetermined, plan or map or route, such as a certain street, certain stoplight, certain turns that you have taken, and then habitually you're kind of programmed to take that over and over and over again until one day you decide, maybe I'm going to turn left at that stop sign and take the next street down and turn right on the second street instead of this one. Maybe I'm going to do that. Maybe I'm going to take that and see how it changes my arrival time. How it changes perhaps as a result of my earlier arrival time, maybe also my day, because I started work on time or earlier or later. I'm going to observe that. Same way, when you say we are laying down neuronal pathways in our brain, a person may have found themselves at time of stress when they are, let's say, suddenly overwhelmed by an unexpected event, and then they sense that urge inside that, I should use, or now it's a good time to use some, cocaine to kind of bring my mood up to deal with the situation and get some courage, because the cocaine is a stimulant. So you would use it in order to get some, better mood or heightened level of energy or excitement to take care of a problematic situation, perhaps overcome some or overlook some obstacles or even dangers, but remain focused on the opportunities and the positive outcome that you want to achieve. If that is coming up as an urge and maybe even a composite of memories and experiences and a goal-directed, goal-driven mindset, you can certainly engage in that and go use the cocaine and basically let's run the script through, and then you go and take care of your business. But then also that after I have used, there's going to be, if I don't use more, it's going to be a crash. Because when I take a stimulant and that's upper, it's taking my mood up and gives me energy and heightened excitement, it's not sustainable unless I add more of this substance to my system.
That becomes a problem.
That becomes a problem. So if I'm at one point of time, let's say 10 hours down the road, 12 hours, 24 hours, 3 days down the road, I've stopped, I'm not using, then boom, that whole excitement that was kind of the top of the wave is going to crash down. And I sense that, right? I'm going to feel it in more or less a, if you will, a package of, depression. I'm going to feel depressed, sad, hopeless, helpless, lethargic, tired, not interested or excited in or motivated, lack of motivation, right? And a lot of gloominess, if you will, to myself, right? So I know that's going to happen after my success. That's whole script that I can envision. And what if right there, what I could do is say, wait a minute, what about not doing that? How about not taking that step? How about what is the worst thing that can happen if I don't use cocaine? Maybe I'm going to go into that meeting, try to face this issue, and maybe I'm going to fail. Okay? Maybe I'm not going to get that contract. But at least I'm not going to have that crash down the road anymore. At least I'm not going to feel, again, depressed and hopeless and helpless. Maybe there's going to be another solution. Okay? So if I kind of pause right in there and then, in that moment, and I tell myself, let me take another approach, another route, that's what we mean by that laying down the neural pathway. It's different than what used to be. Right? I'm just kind of taking a more directed approach toward my goal that has nothing to do with my old habit, and basically open up the opportunity for a new habit to form. Because here, when I'm opening up that opportunity of, let me try something else, then hopefully I can also take action on it. For instance, that's what people learn through going through treatment. Well, you know what? I could talk to someone whom I trust. So if there is a problem I'm facing, instead of facing it with cocaine use, I'm going to face it with a different route. I'm going to go and talk to somebody I trust and see what ideas they have. Okay, that would be one option. And that option has sub-options available. For instance, who is that person that you trust? You could talk to your therapist. You could talk to a parent. You could talk to a sibling, even in older generations, to an adult child who is supportive. You could talk to a sponsor that you have established in the past, for instance, a 12-step sponsor. You could talk to an attorney, perhaps. Let's say if the issue that you're struggling with has legal components associated with it, maybe a trusted attorney can put some good options in front of you. Maybe it has to do with finances. You could talk to a CPA or a financial advisor. Maybe it has to do with some social issues. So maybe you talk to a social advocate, right? Again, so if you take that alternative route to medication or substance use, right, then you're taking an action that if rewarded, if that action actually translates into success and rewards you with the success that you've been looking for, then that by itself can be a new habit formation. The next time around, when you're facing that stress, you remember, your mind remembers, you know what, last time, instead of using cocaine, I went and talked to an expert and it solved my problem. And it didn't have that crash associated with it.
Let me ask you this, because it sounds like to me, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, cocaine is one of many tools, right? And I mean, we can use cocaine, we can use marijuana,
right?
And it boils down to the person not having the skills or the coping abilities to be able to handle a stressing event.
In general, yes.
So we have a stressful event, whether it's economic, challenges, abuse at the home, getting laid off at work.
Right.
All of a sudden, you look in your tool chest. What do I have to be able to deal with this?
Yeah.
And it looks like they'll grab cocaine or marijuana or whatever it is. But you're saying, get rid of those tools. We'll give them new tools.
Right.
And that'll help them on the path of getting rid of addiction.
Yeah, that's the principle. Let's replace the other tools with new tools that are functional and productive. They're constructive. They're also manageable. You see, if a person has replaced cocaine use, for instance, with their own self-efficacy, that means the strong belief and confidence in themselves, right? That I can deal with this situation and I know how to, by, for instance, in this example, reaching out to an expert. And that is rewarding in and of itself, because not only do I get what I want, but also as a result of this collaboration with an expert, I feel much more better about myself, that I have the ability to engage in these types of constructive strategies in my life to influence the outcome of my actions, then I have learned a strategy that, like I mentioned, is productive because it got me to my success. It's constructive, and it is manageable because at any given time, I can increase it as much as I want or decrease it. I can talk to 2 experts, 10 experts, 20 experts, or I can take a break from that, and none of that will have some side effects. They will not control my life. The experts are not going to be knocking on my door and saying, well, you better take this or I'm going to give you hell. But that's what cocaine does. You better take me or I'm going to give you that depression that you don't like. Because I'm a stimulant. If you don't take me, I'm not going to give you excitement. So they're in control. They're in charge. But if I have made my choice in, again, rewarding myself, getting to the outcome that I want, in, let's say, addressing a huge issue in my life in a very constructive, productive, manageable way, then, I am in charge. It has less side effects, if you will, and really no side effects. What would be a bad side effect of contacting an attorney and getting them involved in helping you with a contract and ending an agreement after the contract is over? What would be the bad side effect? I mean, you have to pay
$395 an hour. Yeah.
$395 an hour. But is that a side effect, or is that part of your agreement, part of your plan? You hired them, right?
But so if we go back, so a counselor, a therapist, or psychologist like as yourself, you're like a mental hardware store, in a sense.
You could say that.
Come to you.
Yeah.
I need tools to help me overcome this issue. Which ones would work for me? Right. And then you can tell them.
You can tell. Yeah, you could.
Building that house is going to take a while.
Yeah, building, exactly. Very good point that you brought up. So I can't expect me to go to Home Depot and talk to an expert at Home Depot, give me a few tools, and then overnight I would have a beautiful house.
You got to start the foundation. Yes. You got to get special tools for that, which you guys have.
Right.
And where do we go for this, by the way?
Well, we thank our sponsor. Yes, Elite Care Treatment is available to answer your questions. You can reach them by going to the website elitecaretreatment.com, as well as calling 888-511-0607. If you know of someone that you would like to refer to a treatment center, if you would like to get more answers to your questions.